Yeah, my name is Axelle, and I'm working at Salomon since quite a long time now. I did start on Arc'teryx range, so focusing on all the new shoes that have been done for Arc'teryx at this period, and since only 4 or 5 years for sport style, and focusing on footwear design for all the sport style category.
So I'm working for Salomon for 5 years now. I'm a CMF designer at heart. Now I'm doing I'm the lead of the team for like the CMF team, but basically I'm a CMF designer. Yeah.
So first, what is interesting, I think, is we are always, because there is CMF designer and product designer, and this is quite a specificity for sport style a lot, because we have a lot of animation in color, material, and finishes. So basically, there's always kind of a duo in between the CMF designer and the product designer. And then after, of course, what we try to do is we have always like archive product. We are inspired by this, but we have also a lot of new material coming from the performance side. So they are studying a lot of innovative foam, mesh, or whatever it could be, or processes. So most of the time, we also kind of steal some stuff from the performance and adapt it to the sport style range, because sometimes there is super interesting stuff in the emotional aspect that they can't do in performance. So for sport style, we pick this and make it more poetic or more crazy in a way. So that's a big source of inspiration, to be honest. I guess Myriam can tell more also on this.
Yeah. So as Axel said, there is a part where we take the model as it is and then we change the materials. And either we get inspired from performance and then we recontextualize the materials, or we get down to trends and we see what is kind of like trendy at the moment, and then we materialize the shoe in with a new aspect, like I don't know, ballerinas or fluffy something, or so kind of changing the whole cosmetic of the shoe through the materials. It's a very interesting question because it's the reason of my job, in fact. And the color at Salomon has changed because the industry has changed, and also Salomon itself has changed color. So it really depends on what story we need to tell for each shoe and what consumer we are targeting with each shoe. And this is the answer, like kind of the formula that we use to find the right color and then the right palette.
Deep, let's say, and we have also external collaboration. So sometimes they can also push us in some area we did not did before, and that's a new food for us. So this is always evolving, in fact. I think that we even work together back in the time, so I think we have great example, but we know that we have crazy product for performance. So of course we can take that food and remasterize it in a different way. But each time what we try to do in sport style, maybe we will focus more on one detail area instead of having the, as you say, the functionality or the performance everywhere, and that at the end you have a super techy whatever, but there is no that much emotion onto it. So sometimes we pick up just one focus detail and we want to emphasize it and to make it enhance it, make it more beautiful. And then after, it's really this partnership. So I remember some projects we did work together. I came with the first design and she was telling me I miss something to be able to pop or to highlight this, and I will come back to my design, modifying the piece so that she can make the magic also happen after. So I would say it's really a partnership. It started with the product, of course, trying to highlight some functionalities, but in a way to make it more aesthetic and poetical in a way for the sport style.
The reason why it works for Salomon is because we are very focused and we always try to keep our heritage, which is the mountain. So fashionable, we don't do fashionable shoes. We do shoes that connect with our heritage and they are very linked with what is true and the truth for Salomon. And then we recontextualize it somewhere else. So we are always going to have materials that go through performance testing because they come from the performance environment. It seems sometimes kind of magic, like mixing the design and the materials, we kind of manage to put those shoes that come from another different universe, which is the mountain, and we insert them in the city and into the fashion. And then those materials where sometimes we highlight the detail or we use something a bit different is what is making also the connection in between the performance part and side of our heritage, and then also the newness on fashion. So regarding color, we have rules internally that are there for several reasons, including performance and also sustainability. And then with these rules, we play a little bit also with what the collaborator is bringing to us. So the idea of these collaborations is mixing those two universes. So sometimes they come with a palette and then we have to propose like something very close and very similar that matches also with our standards and requirements. Sometimes we open up a little bit more and then we just integrate new colors that they propose. It really depends a little bit of the partnerships and what they want to tell. The idea is always reaching this middle point where Salomon meets the universe of the collaborator and seeing what comes out using the colors.
I really see it more like a puzzle, let's say. So the external collaborators, they came with their piece. We have our own piece. And the creativity comes from on how you will manage to put the piece together, let's say. So this is where it's super interesting because they bring some part that we don't have in our game, let's say. And it's finding the best way to express both universe, one from the collaborator, but keeping the authenticity from Salomon. So each time there is some piece of the puzzle that we don't take for many reasons, it will be along the way. But at the end, the best is to have the good fitting one that will create something interesting for both brands. So yeah.
I have a fun fact regarding the materials, because Salomon has a material toolbox that some of the materials are the original ones. Like for example, in the XT6 upper material is the same one than the original one. So when we recoded, we took the same. And this is the same case for a few OG archive models. Not for all, as Axelle said. Sometimes we try to get a bit better, but in some cases, it's the actual original one.
To be honest, on my part, so I'm coming from performance. Before I was working on Leon Ortelic, and I try to keep something really authentic about the nature or mountain inspiration, because I do really feel that why people in the city want to wear Salomon is because we are coming from the mountain. So I try really to keep that starting point of inspiration, and we are close to this area. But at the really beginning, most of the time, I try to keep a lot of inspiration from nature and for what people dream about the mountain, in fact, because this is what they... If I start to look too much at the street or the brands that are already in the city, I'm a little bit afraid to lose the authenticity from Salomon.
I think I kind of share with Axelle the part of the mountain. I think the imaginary scenario around the mountain environment and what it costs, like cows, the grass, the trees, the flowers, that's a big source of inspiration. But very personally, I'm someone that is very drawn to understanding the psychology of our consumers and what society is going on and going through. And that's probably through social media, and getting very connected to people is what helps me to draw more inspiration for the stories they want to tell and how I can translate that into materials or colors. I think that's a tricky question, because in my opinion, the first intention of Salomon was not doing fashion things, it's people that make Salomon fashionable, or in somehow like the way people use our products makes them fashionable. Salomon has always be drawn by the idea of outdoors, sports, and the performance side. And then we obviously try to answer also to a market demand, and then we adjust some of our products. But I think the secret to that is staying real, like true to our heritage and to what Salomon is and wants to be.
Yeah, plus we are working on products sometimes even before 2 years that they will hit the market. So I think nobody has a real idea of how it can hit the market at that moment. But we are a lot of time, the challenge that we have, that of course we have a target and we try to say, okay, this consumer to understand whatever. But in a way, we are always coming back to, if I am a consumer and I feel I am targeted, it's not something that I want to be. So it's always something that we think about doing the project, like saying, okay, we want to bring something fresh for them, but as soon as you try to really target and also everything, I think you lose it.
Yeah.
So this is really a tricky balance all along the way, but yeah, it's something every day I think we ask this kind of question and there is no clue, I guess, but authenticity. We have so many other jobs all around.
Yeah.
In between creative, I think it's quite a good part, but yeah, we do have challenge sometimes.
We have a challenge, but when it comes to our collaboration, it's like every day, all the time. We do mood boards together. We like exchange ideas, and I think our common objective is creating the most beautiful shoe that there is possible. And then this is what is the result of our like good collaboration.
For me, it's more a win-win.
I think for a creative person, it's important to have more creatives around, because you need that person that you can trust that is going to come and say, "Love that shit,"
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh my god, yes, that shit," and you were like in love until the moment you just step out and you're like, "No, yeah, I've been working for too long on things."
Having this kind of bubble of creative people, for me, it's oxygen.